11 Alive News at 5 p.m. starts now.
First at 5, breaking news from the Fulton County Courthouse. Witnesses set to testify tomorrow instead called there this afternoon as the Fulton County grand jury hears the criminal case against former President Donald Trump and his allies. Good evening. I'm Faith Jesse.
And I'm Jennifer Bellamy. The presence at the courthouse has been growing all afternoon long, and the pace of the proceedings has picked up within the last couple of hours. These are some photos from one of our crews showing just how much security is surrounding the courthouse tonight. We've had several cameras on all sides of the building out there, capturing witnesses as they come and go.
A lot of movement inside and outside of the courthouse. And here is a live look from our 11 Alive Sky Tracker over the courthouse right now. Today's key witnesses included 2 former lawmakers as well as a top aide to Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger. And within the last hour, our cameras caught independent journalists. You're seeing him right there. That's George Cheedy walking into the courthouse. In December of 2020, he discovered a gathering of 16 Republicans known as alternate or fake electors who signed documents claiming Donald Trump the winner here in Georgia.
We have team coverage tonight answering all of your questions related to this case. Joe Ripley is live with security outside of the courthouse. Zach Merchant has new details on a fake document shared earlier today. But we begin tonight with Doug Richards with more on the witnesses we've seen so far today, Doug.
Yes, sir. This was a very busy day here at the Fulton County Courthouse. There were lots of jurors, grand jurors, and plenty of jurors just reporting for new cases to which they'd been called. There were hordes of journalists here trying to get a glimpse of the witnesses in the Trump case. And then there were the witnesses themselves, some of whom seemed to want to stay out of view.
Probably about 40 minutes.
Former Democratic State Senator Jen Jordan had spent about 40 minutes with the grand jury before speaking briefly with a few reporters as she exited. How were the questions? I mean, what were the grand jurors like?
Very interested, diverse, representing Fulton County, ready to serve. So.
Jordan was among the lawmakers who were part of a legislative committee hearing where Rudy Giuliani, an attorney for former President Donald Trump, spun false stories about election fraud in 2020. Former Democratic State Representative Bee Nguyen said she spent the morning with the grand jury. Georgia election official Gabe Sterling was also spotted in the courthouse. He was part of the recorded phone call made by Trump in January 2021 to Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger, where Trump told them he wanted them to find the votes it would take for him to surpass Joe Biden's total in Georgia.
I think it makes it more powerful to have a handful of eyewitnesses, especially on some of the key points.
Former Executive Assistant Fulton District Attorney Clint Rucker worked for 20 years with DA Fani Willis. He says Sterling will help the DA explain to grand jurors why the phone call with Trump is key evidence against him.
There were many public statements made by Mr. Sterling about how he felt threatened and the intimidation that was involved. And don't forget, as part of the grand jury presentation, they will actually hear the actual phone call. They get a chance to actually hear it. And so I think to have a person like Mr. Sterling perhaps put it in context, I think that would be really, really impactful.
So Rucker says that grand jurors really won't need that many live witnesses because in addition to the tape of the phone call, they will have the full report of the special grand jury that called lots and lots of witnesses and met in secret earlier this year. The question, of course, then is after gathering all that evidence, what this grand jury will do and when. Live at the Fulton County Courthouse, Doug Richards, 11 Alive News.
That is the big question tonight. Doug, thank you so much. And within the past hour, we actually got a statement from the Fulton County Clerk of Court's office about a document that was leaked by a certain news outlet claiming to list 13 potential charges against former President Trump. 11 Alive investigator Zach Merchant digging to the bottom of this. Hey, Zach.
Hey guys, yeah, you're right. Now, around noon, Reuters reported that a document was briefly posted listing out a RICO charge as well as multiple charges for false statements and forgery tied to former President Donald Trump's efforts to overturn the 2020 election results here in Georgia. It should be noted that what was shared online matches the formatting and wording of other Fulton County court records typically available online, but we want to stress this. We just got word from the clerk's office calling that document, quote, fictitious. The statement goes on to say that documents that do not bear an official case number, filing date, the name of the clerk of courts, are not official filings and should not be treated as such. Now, as part of the legal process, it's not unusual for the DA's office to work with the clerk to get all of the charging documents ready prior to any potential indictment. But if nothing else, this gives us yet another indication that the DA may be anticipating a potential indictment against the former president.
All right, Zach, thank you so much for that update. Meanwhile, security remains tight outside of the Fulton County Courthouse. Law enforcement have their hands full, certainly keeping order and securing that area. 11 Alive's Joe Ripley joining us live outside the Fulton County Courthouse. And Joe, what does it look like out there right now? Paint the scene for us.
Yeah, so we've been out here all day outside the Fulton County Courthouse. As you can see behind me, this portion of Pryor Street has been blocked really all week long. You can see the Fulton County Sheriff's deputies' vehicles blocking this portion from MLK Drive all the way up to Mitchell Street, about a block up north that way. So for us, we got a test early on this morning about just how full the Fulton County Sheriff's Office hands are when they came in contact with some protesters here on a completely unrelated matter.
They kept blowing their sirens. I can barely hear anything right now.
Easing into the week.
If you do not disperse, you may be arrested.
Is no easy task, especially at the Fulton County Courthouse. Inside, a grand jury heard testimony related to Georgia's 2020 election. This group of people say, though, they want to exercise their right to protest.
People are allowed to walk back and forth right there, and there's no one stopping them whatsoever. We have a legal right to protest on the sidewalk.
Kamau Franklin led the protesters.
Cobb City will never be built!
Intent on blocking the building of a new Atlanta Public Safety Training Center, the group confronted Fulton County deputies who kept diverting the protesters around the courthouse, where security has increased in the weeks ahead of a decision to indict.
All they're doing is trying to score political points, and that's why we're out here to say, if you care about so-called democracy, you have to care about democracy no matter who is trying to exercise it.
We asked the Fulton County Sheriff's Office how protests like these might impact security measures in and out of the courthouse. A spokesperson sent us this statement saying the corner of Martin Luther King Jr. Drive and Central Avenue is designated for First Amendment protected activities like protesting. They have been directed there. This does not affect anything at the courthouse. The sheriff has not told us how much manpower is devoted to keep the peace during the grand jury proceedings, but said it and other law enforcement would remain vigilant throughout the week. It is very notable. Inside the courthouse, outside the courthouse, we've noticed more security, even canine units walking around just moments ago. Fulton County Sheriff Patrick Labatt told me earlier this month that he would be working with local, state, and federal law enforcement to secure this area, keep it safe, protect protesters, while at the same time assessing any security threats.
All right, Joe, certainly a lot going on out there. Thank you so much. To follow the latest developments in this ongoing investigation here in Georgia in Fulton County, all you have to do is text the word Trump to the number you see there on your screen. We will send you a direct link with the very latest information. That number 404-885-7600.